In the 1960s, the U.S. government allegedly struck a deal with an alien race. We'd send 12 hand-picked military personnel to their planet, and they'd send a few of, well, theirs here. The mission was top secret. The planet was called Serpo, and the story, absolutely insane.
It really is. I mean, can you imagine being one of those 12 people packing for a trip to another planet? Like, do you bring extra socks? And what's the in-flight movie for a journey to Zeta Reticuli? The whole thing just blows my mind.
Yeah, not only extra socks, but I'm probably bringing some extra underwear because there's a chance I'm going to grab my pants being exchanged for some aliens. But either way, the voice you're hearing, it's me, it's Matt, it's Beard Laws, and joining me as always, the one, the only Luther Grimwood.
Thanks, Bat. Always a pleasure to be here. And hey, you know, if we ever do get that invitation to Serpo, I'm definitely bringing a camera because we need to document all of that for the podcast. It's going to be out of this world, literally.
Oh, I like what you did there, my dude. How's things? Everything good? The beard's good. You're good, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. The beard is as glorious as ever, and I'm doing great. I hope everything's awesome on your end too. Always a good day when we're about to dive into some wild conspiracies together.
Wild indeed. And yeah, things are good. I'm definitely, just living by the motto, live bearded. And hopefully everybody else is as well. And yeah, this one's intriguing. You got the research and you're about ready to go?
Oh, you know it. I've got all the details, all the juicy bits of the story, and I'm ready to roll. We're going to break this down and have some fun with it. So let's do it.
Yes, we are. And just like we always have been doing lately, we're going to go ahead with an episode drink so everybody can make the drink, pause it, or leave it rolling and catch up whatever you need to. And this is going to be, an episode drink that really fits the theme. And Luther, I got a heck of a decent little one. I have to admit, I don't love this one. I'm not a huge fan of coconut rum. It's got some coconut rum in it, but I don't know if you're ready to hear it, and I'll break this down for you. You a fan of coconut rum?
You know, I can handle a bit of coconut rum if the vibe is right. And I have a feeling this one is going to be perfect for our intergalactic journey. So lay it on me. I'm ready to hear all about this drink.
All right, we're going to call this one the Interstellar Exchange. Fitting, right? We're going to do an ounce of Midori. We're going to do an ounce of coconut rum, an ounce of pineapple juice, and a splash of soda. That way we give it, a little bit of that, I don't know, Earth approved, yet, Serpo certified. And why don't we serve this to make it a little more mysterious and to fit the theme a little bit more? Let's serve this in a test tube or maybe even a flask. What do you think about that?
Oh, I love it. That is perfect. The Interstellar Exchange sounds like a cosmic cocktail adventure. I think serving it in a test tube or a flask definitely adds that sciencey alien exchange vibe. It's going to be a hit for sure.
Heck, yeah. Again, not really, I'd say, my cup of tea. Do you get sick of, because, not to call you out here, but living over there where tea is more prevalent, do you get sick of people saying, it's not exactly my cup of tea, but...
It does come up quite a bit, but I think it's charming. And hey, variety is the spice of life, right? Whether it's tea or coconut rum, there's always something new to try and enjoy.
Yeah, I had an old coworker at the hospital who was a doctor who always used to tell me that variety is a spice of life, and thank you for that. I hadn't thought about him. Rest in peace to him, and what a good dude. Anyways, they would have probably wanted him in Alien because he was a different species, to put it lightly.
He sounds like he was quite the character, and I'm sure he'd appreciate the shout out. It's always awesome to remember those people who made an impact on us. And who knows, maybe he'd have some fun theories about Project Serpo too.
Definitely would have some theories about it, and if I knew him pretty well, it would definitely be dirty, perverted, and about alien women. So, but he had a big brain and an even bigger heart. So, anyways, I think we should jump into this, my dude. What do you think?
I think that sounds like a plan. let's dive right in and get this interstellar adventure started. It's going to be a blast, I can already tell.
Yes, it is. So let's start it off, I guess. What is Project Serpo? Let's give an origin story. Let's give some early claims about this because it all began in 2005 on a private UFO email list that was moderated by Victor Martinez. It was November 2005 as well that the series of these anonymous post appeared on this private UFO email list, and it was a former government employee and UFO researcher, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where things really started to get interesting because this anonymous source claimed that there was this top secret exchange program between humans and an alien civilization. And from there, the story just takes on a life of its own and it gets wilder and wilder.
And it's 2005. It's not like it's 1980 where, you start to have these allegations, you start to have this stuff, and it's like, you could probably, in the early internet, the, handwritten documentation, you could probably sneak some of this by. It's 2005. I'm not saying it's obviously where we are technologically today because now you have all the AI and, the creation of stuff like that is so real it's pretty scary, but to just kind of fake this is definitely more difficult and maybe adds to a little bit of the credibility.
Yeah, absolutely. The timing of it definitely makes it more intriguing because by 2005 we had the internet, we had a lot of ways to verify information, but also ways to spread stories quickly. So it definitely adds a layer of mystery and makes you wonder how much truth might be hiding in there.
What do you think of this early on in the story, early on in the origin? Picture yourself in 2005. Are you buying this, or are you just saying, nah, there's no way this is happening?
Honestly, I think I'd be super curious, but also a bit skeptical. I definitely want to dig deeper and find out more details before fully buying in. But I can't deny it would be a pretty fascinating story to follow.
You aren't kidding. And I'm going to be honest with you, I still want to believe. I still am skeptical in all of this, and it's 20 years later and we've done some research on it. It's interesting. I mean, there's not even a movie that somebody could base this story off that at least I know of where they're just like, you know what, we got this program, we're going to swap 12 military people for 12 of our people. We're just going to do the swap. What do you guys think?
I know, right? That's what makes it so fascinating. It's such a unique concept that really hasn't been done before, and it just sparks the imagination. It's definitely one of those stories that keeps you wondering, even years later.
Yeah. And kind of to bring it back to 2005, we already said, began with this email list that is being moderated by Victor Martinez. The source of this only identified themselves as a retired senior official from the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, also known as the DIA.
Yeah, and that anonymity just adds another layer of mystery to the whole thing, right? Because you have this supposed insider who's dropping all these details, and it makes you wonder how much of it could be true, how much of it is just elaboration, and it just keeps you poked and wanting to know more.
Yeah, and then you start to add the credibility, and I'm going to say credibility with some air quotes, of being potentially in the DIA that fuels this curiosity even more.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you attach an agency like the DIA to a story, it definitely piques people's interest. It kind of gives it that extra layer of intrigue and makes you wonder if there's some hidden truth behind it all.
I feel like almost any topic that we cover, especially when you start to include some government type stuff, there's always that what's being hidden? What are they not telling us kind of factor to these? I mean, go ahead. Last week, if I remember, I'll put it right here. If not, just go back one episode when we talked about the time America lost 21 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars, and how that shook out was wild.
Oh, for sure. There's always that element of mystery when it comes to government-related stories, and it just keeps us all guessing. And honestly, that's part of the fun, right? Trying to figure out what might really be going on behind the scenes.
Fun, that's what you call it, huh? Yeah, it's fun. Back with the air quotes, Luther.
Fair enough. It's that kind of fun that keeps us on our toes, right? A little bit of,
Man, I'm so far on my toes, my calves look good these days.
well, there you go. If nothing else, all this intrigue is giving you a solid calf workout. Who knew conspiracy theories could double as a fitness routine, right?
Ooh, look at us. The Triple T Podcast Conspiracy Theory Fitness Podcast, baby.
That's right. We're out here keeping minds sharp and calves even sharper. It's all part of the experience.
Yeah, I like it. Even if it's not your cup of tea, right?
Exactly. Whether it's your cup of tea or not, we're serving up something interesting for everyone. Keeps things exciting and a little bit unpredictable, which is always fun.
And a little bit cheeky. Hmm?
Just a little bit of cheekiness to keep things lively. It definitely makes the journey more entertaining, doesn't it?
Oh, you hesitated, but it's all right. It's all right. And let's circle back a little bit. Sorry, I get a little off there. But these posts actually detailed a top secret alien exchange program between the U.S. government and extraterrestrials from a planet called Serpo, located in the Zeta Reticuli. Did I say that right? Star system.
You got it pretty close. It's the Zeta Reticuli star system, and it's definitely one of those names that makes you sound like you're straight out of a sci-fi movie. But yeah, and those details just add so much intrigue to the whole story, which is why it's so fun to explore.
It made me sound like I'm having a stroke. Not in there. Can you break down in as much detail as you can what exactly in the details of the Zeta Reticuli star system?
Zeta Reticuli is definitely fascinating. It's a binary star system about 39 light years away, and it has two stars that are somewhat similar to our sun. So it definitely adds some credibility to the idea that there could be something interesting out there.
Oh, so I have to imagine if there's double the suns that we have, there's got to be double the life. Is that correct? I mean, what else do we know of this? Is there any proof or potential proof of life out there?
It would be amazing if two suns meant double the life, but so far there's no confirmed evidence of any planets or life in the Zeta Reticuli system. There have been hints of a possible debris disk, but nothing concrete yet. So the mystery continues.
How long would it take for us to not only travel but to communicate back and forth with Serpo? The planet Serpo, as this exchange program is being articulated.
Traveling to a planet like Serpo in the Zeta Reticuli system would be quite the journey, about 39 years one way at the speed of light. Communicating would be just as tricky, with each message taking 39 years to arrive and another 39 years for a reply. So any conversation would definitely be a long-term endeavor.
Man, imagine kids having to wait 39 years to receive that text message back. They didn't grow up in the dial up system like we did, and it felt like it was taking 39 years to connect to that internet, right?
Oh, absolutely. Those dial-up days felt endless, but 39 years is a whole different level of patience. It's definitely a reminder of just how vast space is and how good we have it now with instant communication.
Which that's 39 years right there is raising some major red flags because if we're going to go ahead and send some military people, our finest military people in an exchange program, and it's going to take 39 years for them to get there, I feel like these top elite military personnel are not going to be top or elite 39 years after we send them there, right?
Yeah, exactly. By the time they get there, they'd probably be more like veterans in every sense of the word. It definitely makes the logistics of an exchange program pretty mind-boggling. But hey, it adds to the mystery and the fun of the whole story.
It absolutely does. And that's based off our math. That's based off our technology of what we are under the impression that it would take there. That's not to mention that maybe this other planet, this other civilization is much more advanced than us and it doesn't take nearly that kind of time, you know?
Exactly. If they've got some advanced technology that lets them travel at incredible speeds or even through some kind of shortcut in space, then that would definitely change the whole picture. So it leaves a lot of room for imagination and speculation, which is what makes it so intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's wild too to me is this star system is the same system where Betty and Barney Hill claim their alien abductors were from. That happened in the famous 1961 abduction case. Can you tell the world? Can you tell all our listeners more about the 1961 abduction case of Betty and Barney Hill?
And Barney Hill abduction is such a fascinating story. They were driving through New Hampshire in 1961 when they experienced some missing time and later recounted being taken aboard a spacecraft. Under hypnosis, they described these alien beings and even mentioned a star map that some believe points to the Zeta Reticuli system. It really adds an extra layer of intrigue to the whole Zeta Reticuli connection.
It's wild. I mean, to the point where this story was adapted into the best-selling 1966 book, The Interrupted Journey, and NBC's 1975 television film, The UFO Incident.
Absolutely. Their story really captured the public's imagination and became one of the most famous abduction cases in history. It's really interesting how that whole narrative kind of intertwined with the Zeta Reticuli system and how it continues to fuel curiosity even today.
Yeah, and what's even more wild is most of Betty Hill's notes, tapes, and other items have actually been placed in permanent collection at the University of New Hampshire, which was her alma mater. In July 2011, the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources marked the site of the alleged craft's first approach with a historical marker. So if anybody's out there in the New Hampshire area sees this marker, could you guys take a picture of it with you, just the marker, whatever it is, send it over to the Beard Laws Instagram.
That would be so awesome to see. It's amazing how this story has become such a part of history that there's even a historical marker for it. I can't wait to see if anyone sends in some photos.
It's wild too because right after this happened, this was intriguing and wild to me that once they got home about dawn, the Hills stated that they had some odd sensations and impulses that they couldn't explain. Betty insisted their luggage be kept near the back door rather than in the main part of the house. Their watches would never work again. Barney said that the leather strap for the binoculars was torn, though he could not recall tearing it. The toes of his best dressed shoes were scraped. Barney says he was compelled to examine his parts, in the bathroom, though he found nothing unusual. They took long showers to remove possible contamination, and each drew a picture of what they had observed.
It's so fascinating how many little details and strange occurrences they experienced after that night. It really adds to the mystery and makes you wonder what exactly happened to them. Definitely one of those stories that sticks with you.
Yeah, Betty's dreams were wild. I mean, they had medical help, all the interviews, like you said, the hypnosis sessions. And what's unfortunate too is Barney ended up passing away at just the age of 46, February 25th of 1969. So shortly after the events, fairly shortly after.
Yeah, it's really sad that he passed away so young, especially after going through such a life-changing experience. It's clear that what happened to them left a really deep impact on both of their lives.
Mm-hmm. Then what was wild of all of that as well is you had Jim McDonald, who was a resident of the area in which the Hills claim to have been abducted, has produced a detailed analysis of their journey, which concludes that the episode was provoked by their misperceiving an aircraft warning beacon on Cannon Mountain as a UFO. And then, he even has all the notes from the road and this and that. And just thought this was all triggered by stress, sleep deprivation, and false memories. So, I mean, just like the story we're doing right now, there can be two sides to every story. There can be some truth, there could be some faults, but it's like you said, we're gonna stay on our toes and figure this out the best that we can.
Absolutely. And that's what makes these stories so fascinating. There's always a mix of perspectives and interpretations. It's all part of the mystery, and it keeps us curious and open-minded as we explore all the possibilities.
Yep. And the connection, obviously, with the exchange and all those emails and then the 1961 abduction case really started, to make the traction of this just buzz, not only in the news and the media, but definitely the UFO community.
Absolutely. It's like all these pieces of the puzzle just came together and fueled the fascination even more. It's no wonder that the UFO community and so many others have been captivated by these stories for so long. It's definitely a fascinating journey.
Oh, absolutely. And then, after the Roswell crash in 1947, which after I'm done with this, if you want to catch everybody up to speed on the Roswell crash of 47, the surviving alien Evans allegedly established communication with the U.S. government.
Yeah, the Roswell crash is another huge cornerstone in UFO lore. It's fascinating how these stories interconnect and keep the curiosity alive. I'm always up for diving into more of these mysteries and sharing the wild stories behind them.
Yeah, maybe there's people out there that don't know about the Roswell crash in 1947. Why don't you hit them with the details, the little summary, the cliff notes of this crash?
Absolutely. So back in 1947, something crashed near Roswell, New Mexico, and the military initially reported it as a flying disc. They quickly changed their story, saying it was just a weather balloon, but that initial report sparked decades of speculation and conspiracy theories. Many people believe it was actually a crashed alien spacecraft and that the government recovered alien bodies, which has kept the legend alive ever since.
And old Evans has communication with the home country, the motherland that it is alleged.
Exactly. The story goes that the surviving alien, often referred to as an EBE or extraterrestrial biological entity, managed to communicate with its home planet. And that communication is said to have laid the groundwork for this whole Serpo exchange program story. It's definitely a wild ride of a tale.
Yeah, and they even said that there was a formal exchange that was arranged in the 1960s, and then in July 1965, 4 years after the Hills incident, 12 military personnel, 10 men, 2 women, they were actually selected for an interplanetary mission, which sounds like it could double as a Beastie Boys song.
I really don't have that epic ring to it, doesn't it? It's such a fascinating concept. The idea of sending a team of humans on an interplanetary mission, it definitely captures the imagination and adds to the whole mystique of the story.
And what's even wild, it's alleged in some kind of documentation. Obviously, I wasn't able to find the exact documentation, but it's alleged that these 12 military personnel actually then departed Earth aboard an Eben spacecraft and traveled for approximately 9 months to try to get to Serpo. And their mission was cultural exchange, scientific observation, and establishing peaceful communication and contact. We come in peace. That whole thing.
Yeah, it's such an incredible concept, almost like something out of a sci-fi movie, but with that extra layer of intrigue because of all the mystery surrounding it. It really does make you wonder what kind of amazing possibilities could be out there.
Definitely doesn't. In of these 12 participants, you're probably thinking, like, why did they pick this crew? They had to be highly trained in science, medicine, engineering, linguistics, and survival. They cleared above top secret, voluntarily agreed to a 10-year mission with no guarantee of return. They trained for years beforehand in a secure facility in the American Southwest, likely Groom Lake, or this little place maybe you've heard of? Area 51?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like they put together a dream team of experts for this mission, and the idea of training for years in a top secret location like Area 51 just adds to the mystique. It's such a captivating story for sure.
Yeah, and they even claimed that they allegedly were trained using an actual alien craft recovered from Roswell.
That just takes the whole story to another level, doesn't it? The idea that they might have had access to actual alien technology for Roswell is so fascinating. It definitely adds to the intrigue of the entire Serpo story.
Yeah, they said that they left from Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. The Evans ship was said to hover silently, emitting no heat, and actually warped the air around it. That's wild.
It really is. Just picturing that kind of technology is mind blowing. And it really does sound like something straight out of a science fiction story. It's no wonder this whole tale has captured so many imaginations over the years.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just gained more and more traction, research, science. I mean, to the point where they actually have a description of planet Serpo as a harsh but habitable, hotter, higher radiation, and smaller population than Earth. As mentioned before, two suns, so there's no night cycle like we know it. It's like parts of what? Alaska? It's just sun, more radiation.
Yeah, it definitely paints a picture of a world that would be quite the adjustment for anyone coming from Earth. I can only imagine how challenging and fascinating it would be for those who were part of that mission. It really just adds another layer to the whole mystery and adventure of the story.
Yeah, and the Ebons, you're probably thinking like, what do they look like? No, just me. Either way, they're kind of depicted like we have seen throughout the years as aliens, small, gray-skinned race, large eyes, super intelligent, big old brains.
Exactly. And they fit that classic image of what we think of when we imagine extraterrestrials. And it just adds to the intrigue. The idea of communicating and collaborating with beings like that is both mind blowing and exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, just wild how that story it then breaks, in UFO forums and everywhere else. Then you had UFO researcher Bill Ryan. Can't trust a guy with two first names, they say, who was formerly a Project Camelot, compiled and organized the story at serpo.org. I have to imagine it wasn't very easy to buy a domain back then as it is today, and I wonder if serpo.org is still a thing.
Looks like serpo.org is indeed still up and running. It's pretty cool that it's still out there, keeping the story alive and continuing to intrigue curious minds.
Yeah. What's even more wild and those curious minds gets theirs minds just a racing is no official government confirmation, but they also haven't given an official denial either. What's up with that?
Yeah, that kind of ambiguity definitely keeps the mystery alive. When there's no official confirmation or denial, it just leaves room for so much speculation and imagination. It's no wonder people are still so intrigued by it all.
Oh, absolutely. And you're probably thinking like, all right, who could have done it? Potentially. There was a couple of names that were tossed out on the intranets. And again, this is stuff that we have found. We're not out here making speculations. We're not out here trying to break the case and, causing false accusations. But a name that was potentially released as someone that might have been the source was Rick Doty, a former Air Force OSI agent known for UFO related psychological operations, including the Paul Benowitz affair. Hmm?
Yeah, Rick Doty is definitely a well-known name in the UFO community, and his involvement in various cases has always added another layer of complexity and intrigue. It definitely makes you wonder about the sources and the stories behind all these mysteries.
Oh, absolutely. Why don't you tell anybody just briefly about the Paul Benowitz affair for anybody that hasn't heard and is super intrigued by that? And we don't want them to leave our podcast to go look up that. You know what I mean?
For sure, the Paul Benowitz affair is another fascinating chapter in UFO history. Paul Bennewitz was a businessman who believed he had discovered evidence of alien activity near a military base, and Rip Doty and others from the Air Force got involved and ultimately fed him disinformation, which unfortunately had a huge impact on Bennewitz. It's a pretty wild and cautionary tale about government involvement in UFO circles.
Absolutely his. And Victor Martinez, a name that, helped all of this information get out there, insists over the years that it was not Doty. Though Doty has kind of hinted himself at knowing about Serpo. So a lot of speculation there, and we'll probably never know really who it was if it was him.
Yeah, that mystery around the source of the Serpo information just adds another layer of intrigue to the whole story. It's one of those tales that just keeps you guessing and wondering, and I think that's a big part of why it continues to capture people's imaginations.
Yeah, and I do have to apologize. I did have some more stuff on life on planet Serpo that I kind of skipped over in my notes. So what do you think, Luther? Should I hit the rest of the notes and really paint the picture on Serpo, or do we just keep cruising?
I say go for it. Let's paint the whole picture and dive into the details. I think everyone would love to hear more about what life on Serpo was supposed to be like.
All right. Obviously, two suns, no night, slightly smaller planet than Earth, but intense radiation. Gravity is actually lighter than Earth as well. It actually took the crew months to adjust, allegedly. And the average temperature 94 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. That is toasty.
Oh, definitely toasty. That kind of heat and radiation would be quite a challenge to adapt to. It really paints Serpo as this intense but fascinating place that would test anyone's endurance and resilience. It definitely adds a whole new dimension to the story.
And what's also wild is it was also said in whatever research that's out there that time of 1 day on Serpo is 43 Earth hours. And obviously, time perception was a huge issue for the crew, and they would quickly lose track of Earth time. Could you imagine that? A 43-hour day? I wonder how much time here on Earth they'd make us work.
Oh, I can only imagine. A 43-hour day would definitely be a game changer. It'd be so easy to lose track of time and routines. It really shows just how challenging it would have been for that crew to adapt to life on Serpo.
It also had a thin, oxygen rich atmosphere, which caused nausea and dizziness at first. The crew brought air mixtures, but they eventually, allegedly, adapted. The Evans 4 to 5 feet tall, which, hey, that's about what they've always been depicted. Telepathic communication, which they were able to, from some stuff that I read, maybe even had some partial success again, if you believe that this is true. They were peaceful, they were curious, a communal society, no currency. They just shared resources, which that'd be cool.
Yeah, it does sound like a pretty fascinating and harmonious way of living. It really does make you think about how different their society would be from ours and how interesting it would be to experience that kind of culture. It definitely adds a lot of depth to the whole Serpo story.
Yeah, there was no visible infrastructures, no energy sources that, were very clear. Homes, they were grown from organic materials, or a lot of them were actually underground. Devices were smooth, wireless, and mentally activated. In the Ebon diet, not real meat, a lot of plant based, chemical based, food. The crew lost a ton of weight. They did try to bring some earth food, but it spoiled pretty quickly, as you'd imagine.
Yeah, that definitely would have been a huge adjustment for the crew from the diet to the living conditions and the technology. It's really interesting to imagine what it would be like to adapt to such a completely different environment and way of life. It really does make the story even more compelling.
Yeah, and the story says that with the crew, two of them died. One was from a pneumonia like illness, and one died from an accident. Two chose to stay in Serpo voluntarily, they claim. Eight then returned to Earth in 1978. The crew, they were debriefed for over a year. The place, they were placed in isolated locations, lived out their lives under government care, and allegedly died by the early 2000s, some from radiation related illnesses, unfortunately. But that's going to happen if, thin atmosphere, high radiation.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense that such extreme conditions would take a toll on their health over time. It's kind of bittersweet to think about the sacrifices they made and the experiences they must have had. It really adds a poignant note to the whole story.
Mm-hmm. And some of the ones that did return, they aged rapidly, memory gaps, psychological effects reported. Obviously, I would have to imagine that. And apparently, allegedly, there's reports of a crew member's journal that was leaked, fragmented, and very cryptic.
Yeah, that journal definitely adds another layer of mystery to the whole story. The idea of these fragmented notes from someone who experienced such an extraordinary journey really fuels the imagination. It's just one more reason why this whole tale continues to captivate people.
Yeah, and speaking of the tale, the captivation, let's give our opinions. Real or not real? I mean, you got the people that are out there saying, "Hey, Rick Doty, the OSA agent, helped him," and it's a psyop. You know what I mean? And some believe it's based on a real operation with maybe some fictionalized details, and maybe, just maybe, and this has been a theme in a lot of the shows that we have done. It's a distraction tactic. They were trying to distract us from something much bigger.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those stories where you can see how all those possibilities could be true in some way. It's really fun to speculate and keep an open mind. The blend of potential truth and fiction is what makes it so intriguing and keeps the conversation going.
All right, what's your opinion? What's your thoughts? What's your beliefs? Fact or fiction, Luther?
I think it's a fascinating blend of both. Honestly, there's probably a kernel of truth in there somewhere, but it's been wrapped up in layers of speculation and storytelling, which is what makes it so compelling. It's always fun to keep an open mind and enjoy the mystery.
I like how you refer to it as a kernel, and I'm going to say the kernel is the truth, and a huge tub at the movie theater of popcorn is the fictional part. So maybe you get to the bottom of it, and there's a kernel down there, and you accidentally get it in the bottom of your bucket, and you're like, that part is the truth. All the other stuff is just fluffed out, just kind of delicious, buttery fiction.
I love that analogy. It's a perfect way to look at it. You enjoy the whole bucket of popcorn, knowing that there's some truth hidden in there, but the journey and the flavor are all part of the fun. It makes the whole experience so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, so that's our opinion. Obviously, let us know in the comments after, of course, you give this a like and check out all the friends in the description, because without the friends in the description, this podcast wouldn't be what it would be today. So feel free to check them out. And yeah, there's a couple of ties in pop culture. Did you know this, Luther, to this whole thing?
Oh, absolutely. It's always fun to see how these kinds of stories inspire movies, TV shows, and books. It just shows how much of an impact these intriguing tales can have on our imagination and creativity.
Yeah, and do you have any guesses on on somebody that put a little tie on this? Because the first person that I thought of that would do this came to mind. I want to see if you're on the same page, if we're telepathically thinking the same thing.
Well, when it comes to anything involving mysterious government projects and aliens, I always think of the X-Files. Chris Carter definitely brought a lot of those themes into the show. So I'm curious if that was your guess too.
It absolutely was not. I was thinking Spielberg, man. I guess we don't have telepathy. That's a hard word for me to say.
No worries. Spielberg definitely makes a lot of sense too with all his iconic sci-fi and alien films. I guess we were just on different wavelengths, but both great guesses.
Why, thank you. You're so positive and polite. Yeah, it's kind of I don't know, rumored, alleged, talked about that Close Encounters of the Third Kind, one of Spielberg's, pieces of work, ends with humans boarding an alien craft, just like Serpo. Was Hollywood maybe trying to prep us or continually distract us?
That's such an interesting thought. Sometimes it does feel like Hollywood has a knack for reflecting or even hinting at these bigger mysteries. It definitely makes you wonder if there's a little more to it or if it's all just part of the magic of storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, whether it's story telling, a lot of the critics are out there citing that there's way too much inconsistencies in the timelines, there's science errors, and there's just, well, something that doesn't ever appear to show its face in a lot of these conspiracy theories: evidence, hard, concrete evidence. But then there's also arguments out there that these details are way too specific to be made up. But maybe, just maybe, AI intelligence has been around a lot longer than we think.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these kinds of stories. They really make you ponder all the possibilities and keep the conversation going. It's always fun to explore the what ifs and see where our imagination can take us.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't. Before we get out of here, my brain continually is like, all right, well then, why have no more missions like this happened, or have they? We just don't know about it. And if two people stayed on Serpo, are they still alive? Have they bred? Are there some human Ebons out there? I know of a place called Ebonhearst that has big beers and delicious food in Potsdam, New York. Maybe, just maybe, they're related.
Who knows, right? It's definitely fun to let the imagination run wild with all the possibilities. Maybe there are more secrets out there that we just haven't uncovered yet. And hey, maybe that place in Potsdam is onto something. It's all part of the fun of exploring these mysteries.
Oh, absolutely. And one last question that keeps running through my brain as we were doing this in the research: did this open the door for future exchanges? Or was this just a big cosmic one night stand?
That's such a great question. I guess that's part of the intrigue, right? Whether this was just a one-time adventure or if it paved the way for more to come. It's fun to imagine that there could be more secrets out there waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. And to wrap this up, this is what I got to say, Luther. You ready for it? Whether this was real, fake, or somewhere in between, it shows how far the rabbit hole goes when it comes to human alien contact. And maybe, just maybe, Luther, the ones who stayed behind are looking up at our skies right now, wondering if we'll ever come back.
I love that thought. It's such a poetic way to wrap it up. Whether it's truth or myth, it really does spark the imagination and makes you wonder what else is out there. It's been so much fun diving into this with you.
Oh, I appreciate it, my dude, and I appreciate anybody that's taken some time out of their busy day. Maybe you are like the Ebons and you have 45 hours in your day instead of 24. We appreciate you spending a little less than one hanging out with us. So that's all I got. But we'll be back next week for another episode of the Triple T Podcast. Luther, take us out with some words of wisdom.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for joining us on this wild ride of curiosity and imagination. Remember to always keep an open mind, stay curious, and never stop exploring the mysteries around us. Until next time, take care and keep looking up at the stars.
Love it. All right, that's all we got. We'll be back next week. Take care, everybody.